All right, Leo, this is Michael. Good to hear from you again. So you sent me an email and you're working on, I think, one of my TOEFL writing lessons, and you're trying to work on creating an introduction with a sharply focused thesis around which you can organize the body parts of your paper, right? All right, let's take a look at the question. Let's take a look at what you wrote, and then let's listen to some of my suggestions. So the question is, you've received a gift of money. The money is enough to buy either a piece of jewelry you like or tickets to a concert you want to attend. Which would you buy? Use specific reasons and details to support your answer. So you say, honestly, I would buy the tickets for the concert because I think that the experience have more worth than a piece of jewelry. In my view, you can get a good time with your friends. Also, this kind of show give you the opportunity to know other people's. And finally, might be this experience would be unforgettable for you. That for me is much better than something material. Alrighty. Now be careful. I've been telling you about this. You're putting too many commas in your paragraphs. You're not putting enough periods in there. So if I look at your idea and I edit just what you have, I might say I'd buy tickets for the concert because I think that experience have more worth than a piece of jewelry. At this point, you have two choices, either a semicolon or a period. I'm going to use a period. Then you'll say, in my view, and you're saying I here, so don't say you. It's your question. What do you think? So I can get a good time with my friends. I would correct that. And then you need a connector, and this kind of show gives me, remember, you're focusing on you, the writer, not the reader, and gives me the opportunity to know other people. Actually, probably don't need a connector here. Use it like this. So I can get a good time with my friends. This kind of show gives me the opportunity to know other people. Here, and finally, this experience would be unforgettable for me. And then you have your connector here, which is much better than something material. Do you see what I'm saying? So pay attention to some of the corrections I made here and why I made them, but you're actually getting better in terms of your thesis. So what we've done here, we created in your thesis 3 different sentences. In my view, I can get a good time with my friends. That's sentence 1. We put a comma. Your next sentence, this kind of show gives me the opportunity to know other people. And then your third sentence is, and finally, this experience would be unforgettable for me, which is better, and maybe here, than something material, right? So those would be some basic editing corrections I might make in the paper. But still, I think your intro is a little weak here. You don't really have, you go directly to the question first. You're getting to the point too quickly. You need to go around the house a few times and then get to the question. Remember that your introduction, you're trying to get 350 words total in your TOEFL iBT independent writing task. And if you have a short introduction like this, it puts too much pressure on you in the rest of your paragraph to include all these incredible rich detail information to support your generalizations. But anyway, let me give you some suggestions. Now, I'm taking this idea and I'm rewriting it. Now, first of all, I'm giving you a general statement. And this general statement kind of precedes the actual question. And my general statement really is this first part here. You see that? Maybe I'll make this yellow here. Hold on a minute so we can see it a little bit better here. So we'll change this to yellow. This is my general statement. Let's take a look at what I'm doing here. So I say here, Most people are delighted when they receive gifts, especially when it is money, because it allows them to spend the money on whatever they think will benefit them the most. You see what I'm doing? I'm going back to the question, and I'm kind of restating the question a little bit. Then I say, of course, how they will spend that money depends on each person's own preferences and needs. Probably better here to change this to this because it goes back to they. So of course, how they will spend that money depends on their own preferences and needs. Finally, we get to the question. And when we get to the question, we want to restate what we're being asked to do, and we restate that as part of our thesis. So let's see what I've done here. So let me highlight this maybe a different color. So how about, let's say, I'll make it gray. So in this first part of my complex sentence here, I'm restating the actual question. It says, you received a gift of money. The money is either to buy a piece of jewelry or tickets to a concert. So I say, if I were given a substantial sum of money with the stipulation, which means requirement, with the stipulation that I had to spend it on either jewelry or tickets to a concert, and then, Leo, we get to our thesis statement. You see what I'm saying here? So maybe we'll give this a different color. See if this makes more sense to you. Okay, here we go. So now let's take a look. So I've separated, I think, my introduction into three parts. The first part of my TOEFL introduction is more of a general statement that more or less kind of goes back to the question, but not exactly. It's a little bit larger than the question. I say most people are delighted when they receive gifts, right? Especially when it is money, because it allows them to spend the money on whatever they think will benefit them the most. Of course, how they will spend that money depends on their own preferences and needs. Now, I get into actually restating the question. If I were given a substantial sum of money with the stipulation that I had to spend it on either jewelry or tickets to a concert, and finally, we get to the thesis. Like yours, I'm including a 3-point thesis. I would choose to spend it on the concert since it would help me to strengthen my relationship with my best friend. It would allow me to meet new friends, and it would create a long-lasting memory in my life. So in your case, you've also done this, but your idea in the beginning, you say, I can get a good time with my friend, but it's really hard to specifically develop that idea, a good time. You're just saying you're going to have fun. What else do you say? But if I say it will strengthen my relationship with my best friend, now I have a responsibility of showing how it would do that. You see what I'm saying? So it's much easier for me to provide more supporting detail to my key point than it is yours. Now, your next key point is very easy, and I use that in my thesis also. It would allow me to meet new friends, and then you can explain how that would happen and give us some examples there. And then I think this is what you're saying also at the end. It would create a long-lasting memory in my life. You see that? So taking your introduction, I've made a few changes, and particularly I've created a bigger general statement that kind of relates to the question that you didn't do. Then I restated the question, and then I included my thesis kind of near the end of that first paragraph. So I've taken your idea in your paragraph and made it a little bit bigger. So now the introduction is a little bit longer than what you have, and it's also maybe a little bit more focused, I think, in the thesis itself. So does that make sense? So to kind of recap what I just said here, in terms of developing your introduction for the TOEFL iBT independent speaking tasks, you definitely want to do three things. Create a general statement about the question. Number two, restate the question. And then finally include the thesis with maybe 2 or 3 support points, things that you want to address in those body paragraphs.